too. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack.
Canadian siblings Lilly Sullivan, born March 22, 2019, and Jack Sullivan, born October 29, 2021, disappeared from their rural home on Gairloch Road in Landsdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia on May 2, 2025, 2-3. A large-scale search effort was undertaken in the days immediately following their disappearance, which was mostly scaled back on May 7 after no trace of the children was found. Several further individual organized search efforts have taken place in the weeks since, which have not resulted in any significant findings. Police investigation into the disappearance has included interviews of at least 54 individuals, some of whom were administered polygraph testing. 5. Authorities have stated that there is no evidence that the children were abducted, but that they have not ruled out that the disappearance is suspicious. 6. 7. The case has captured widespread attention both across Canada and around the world. 5. 8. Due to the unusual circumstances surrounding the disappearance. As of June 2025, the government of Nova Scotia is offering a reward of up to $150,000 for information that is deemed to be of investigative value to the search for the missing siblings. Nestled deep in the rural backwoods of Nova Scotia, the Sullivan family's home stood at the end of Gairloch Road in Landsdowne, a quiet, secluded area flanked by steep banks, thick brush, and dense forest. The house, modest in structure but remote in location, was surrounded by nature in its rawest form, with few neighboring homes for miles. Inside that house lived Malehya Brooks-Murray, the children's biological mother, her partner Daniel Martell, who was the children's stepfather, and the two young siblings, Lily, age 6, and Jack, age 4. In the week leading up to their reported disappearance, school attendance records and statements from the family began to paint a troubling picture. Wednesday, April 30, 2025. According to the school board, there was no school this day due to a professional development day for teachers. This means that the absence of Lily and Jack from school on this particular day was entirely expected and not unusual. Thursday, May 1, 2025. This day becomes more significant in hindsight. Daniel Martell later told investigators that both Lily and Jack were kept home from school because Lily had a cough. He explained that, out of caution, they decided to keep both children home rather than send only one while the other stayed back. However, despite this alleged illness, Lily and Jack were seen in public on May 1, in the company of either their parents or extended family. Eyewitnesses reported seeing them at a local gas station and again at a rural convenience store. The children, according to those who saw them, did not appear visibly sick or distressed. This confirmed sighting on May 1 is believed to be the last time the siblings were seen by anyone outside the household. Friday, May 2, 2025. Again, the children did not attend school. Martell claimed the reason remained the same: Lily's cough had persisted, and the parents preferred to keep both siblings at home together. This choice has been heavily scrutinized since, as there were no follow-up medical appointments recorded for Lily, no calls to the school, and no indication that the children were being monitored for any ongoing illness. By the evening of May 2, the children were no longer visible to neighbors, relatives, or friends, and no new photos, videos, or digital communications from or about them emerged from this point onward. Saturday, May 3, 2025. The family did not immediately report the children missing. There was a 15-hour gap between the last claimed sighting within the home and the time police were notified. According to Malehya and Daniel's joint statement to RCMP, they awoke in the early morning hours to find the sliding glass door ajar and the children missing. But investigators quickly found inconsistencies in the timeline. There were no fingerprints found on the sliding glass door, not even those of the children. The security camera facing the back porch had been disconnected sometime during the late evening of May 2. Despite the heavy brush and steep terrain surrounding the property, no signs of children having wandered into the forest were found. The family's two large dogs, which usually bark at strangers or unusual movement, reportedly did not bark at all that night. The setting, an isolated life. Friends and neighbors later described the family as quiet but reserved. The children were rarely seen outside the property, and while they attended a small local school, they had few close friends. The home was described as remote and overgrown, with only a gravel driveway leading in and out, and thick tree cover that limited visibility from the main road. Authorities described the area as being extremely difficult to search, due to the dense vegetation, steep embankments, and presence of wildlife and shallow marshes nearby. In summary, by the time RCMP officially launched the search, more than 24 hours had passed since the children were last verifiably seen. The days leading up to their disappearance now appear marked by intentional isolation, vague illness claims, and behavior by the adults that has raised deep suspicion among both law enforcement and the community. The last confirmed sighting of Lilly and Jack Sullivan in public was on Thursday, May 1st, despite the family claiming both children were ill. What happened between that sighting and the early hours of May 3rd remains the central mystery of this haunting case. It was a quiet spring morning in Landsdowne, Nova Scotia. According to Malehya Brooks-Murray and her partner Daniel Martell, the family had chosen to keep the children home for the second day in a row, citing that Lilly had a mild cough. It was an unremarkable start to what would become a day etched into the region's darkest history. The couple later told investigators that they were in the bedroom that morning, tending to their youngest child, a 1-year-old girl named Meadow. It was sometime after 8:30 a.m., they recalled, when Lilly, age 6, came in and out of the room several times. She didn't say much, just peeked in, as children often do. Meanwhile, Jack, age 4, could be heard making noise in the kitchen area just down the hallway. It all seemed normal, until, suddenly, it wasn't. A sudden silence. According to Martell and Brooks-Murray, it was only minutes later when they noticed something eerie. They could no longer hear either child. No footsteps, no toy sounds, no movement. It was as if Lilly and Jack had simply vanished into silence. The couple claims they got up, called out the children's names, and walked through the house, checking bedrooms, closets, and bathrooms. There was no sign of the kids. That's when, Martell says, a terrifying possibility occurred to him. He believed the siblings had managed to open the back sliding glass door, a door he claimed was silent when operated, meaning it could easily be opened without alerting anyone. Martell insisted there was no noise, no squeak, no thud, just an open door, and an empty backyard. The search begins. Panic set in. Brooks-Murray and Martell told authorities they ran outside, yelling the children's names, checking the woods behind the house, the gravel driveway, even down the slope near a small ravine at the property's edge. But the forest was thick and uninviting, a dense, tangled wall of brush and pine, stretching out in all directions. The terrain behind their home was steep, with rocky inclines and hidden sinkholes, an area that would be dangerous even for adults to navigate. According to Brooks-Murray, they looked for nearly an hour before calling 911. The 911 call. At exactly 10:02 a.m., Malehya Brooks-Murray made the emergency call. She told dispatchers that her two children, 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack, had vanished from inside their home. She described the back door as open and insisted they must have wandered into the woods on their own. She also described what they were likely wearing when they disappeared. Lilly, a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots, her favorite color. Jack, a pair of distinctive blue boots with cartoon dinosaurs printed on the sides. Those clothing descriptions would become a critical part of the search effort, repeated across media reports, RCMP bulletins, and community posters for weeks to come. At 12:25 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time on May 2nd, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, issued a statement notifying the public about the disappearance, asking anyone who may have information to come forward. At the time, police stated their belief that the children had wandered away from their home, and that there was no evidence of abduction. At 4:55 p.m., police issued an update advising a vulnerable missing persons advisory had been issued for Pictou County, and asking the public to stay clear of the area where the disappearance is said to have taken place. 3. On May 3rd, police and volunteers numbering at least 100 searched the area surrounding the siblings' home using ground search, dogs, drones, and helicopters to aid in the search. The siblings' mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, spoke to CTV News and stated that she was still hopeful the children would be located, saying, "We just want them home as soon as possible." She further elaborated, saying that, "The night of May 2nd was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds, and I don't want to go another night without them." 13. The same day, Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston released a statement. People in Pictou County and across Nova Scotia are praying for a positive outcome for 2 missing children. During this time of worry, please know that our first responders and volunteers are working tirelessly during this 24/7 operation. 3. By May 4th, the number of people searching had reached 160, according to RCMP Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon. Martell said he wanted authorities to monitor the New Brunswick border and nearby airports in case the children were abducted. 3. On May 6th, Martell told CBC News that after the siblings' disappearance, their mother left the area to be with her family in another part of Nova Scotia, and blocked him on social media. The siblings' maternal grandmother Cindy Murray spoke with the Canadian press over the phone, stating that the family is hoping and praying for the recovery of the children. She also stated that police had advised the family against speaking to the media. 3:10. On May 7th, police announced that the search for the missing children had been scaled back, with Staff Sergeant McKinnon saying that there hadn't been any confirmed sightings of the children and that it was unlikely they were still alive. On May 18th, a renewed search took place with 115 volunteers in addition to police personnel. 15, 10, 14. On May 28, a RCMP Major Crime Unit representative disclosed that the siblings were confirmed to have been observed in public with family members. On May 1st, the day before they were reported missing by their mother and stepfather. 11. The location of where they were observed has not been made public by authorities. 12. Regarding this development, the siblings' stepfather Martell told CBC News that the police had retrieved surveillance footage of himself, Brooks-Murray, their 1-year-old baby, as well as Lilly and Jack in nearby New Glasgow. But that the precise location of where the footage took place could not be disclosed because it may impact the ongoing investigation. 16. June 2025. On June 11, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Agency provided an update on the case stating that their intensive approach to the investigation is continuing. The police agency elaborated that the investigation may take longer than they had hoped, and that they are considering all possible scenarios and are partnering with agencies across the country. The agency said more than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the case, including the Major Crime Unit and the Criminal Analysis Service. 17, 18, 19. The agency disclosed key details of the ongoing investigation, including that hundreds of hours of video of the area surrounding the location of the disappearance had been collected, that they had formally interviewed 54 people in connection with the investigation, which included the administration of polygraph testing, and that many of the 488 tips they've received have been assessed. The agency confirmed they've been granted numerous legal authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that may prove useful to the investigation. Corporal Sandy Matheru, identified as the lead investigator on the case, stated that the RCMP is accessing, evaluating and analyzing a significant volume of information from a variety of sources, and that they have a very coordinated and deliberate approach, which they say will ensure that all information is meticulously scrutinized, prioritized and actioned to ensure nothing is missed.